Hey, do you want a great way to almost guarantee to increase the value of your property? Consider buying a home inside of an HOA. Stay tuned and we're going to explain exactly what I mean by that and how HOAs actually help to increase your property's value. So there's typically a good amount of confusion around HOAs. You know, what do they do? What don't they do? Are they a benefit? Are they a hindrance? What exactly do they do for you, right? And a lot of first-time home buyers are kind of confused with HOAs, and folks that are trying to sell their house in an HOA are kind of confused on what benefits they actually need to highlight about their HOAs. So I'm here to kind of explain to you the benefits, the positives, the negatives, and how HOAs actually can help increase the value of your property. So the Homeowners Association, which is an HOA, is really a governing body that oversees the residential community as a whole. They're usually run by your local residents. There's a board of directors that are on an HOA, which are duly elected by you, the residents of the area. And a lot of HOAs, they'll hire a third-party company to really take care of the day-to-day operations of the HOA. Now, HOAs are funded by annual fees that you, the residents of the community itself, actually pay in, usually quarterly, monthly, or even annually. So while an HOA can actually help increase the value of property right here in Cherokee County, there are some drawbacks. And one of the common misconceptions of an HOA is that they're literally a bunch of tyrants just waiting to pounce on the homeowners and making sure that, everything is absolutely perfect. That is very rare that we find that an HOA is really going to be that nitpicky and a bunch of tyrants. They really aren't. Their primary goal is to instill some standards in the HOA that are going to enhance and increase the value of all the properties within the area. So they promote conformity. So many of the HOAs will have rules and regulations around what you can and cannot do to the property. So you're not going to have some crazy neighbor do anything crazy that's going to affect the value of your property. They upkeep all the common areas of the development itself. So those are usually your entrances and some areas that you may have in the development itself. They have building and maintenance facilities as well. So usually a lot of HOAs will have like a common building or a clubhouse or something like that they actually maintain and make sure that it is kept up. So let's talk about what HOAs can't do. All right. The first thing is they cannot discriminate. That's against a lot of different laws and a lot of different Fair Housing Act acts that are in place. So they cannot discriminate whatsoever. They cannot fine you arbitrarily. In other words, they can't just send you a fine for something that they find is wrong with the property or you're not keeping it up or something like that. They must give you notice and plenty of notice before you actually obtain a fine itself. They cannot just arbitrarily change the rules, right? It has to go to the board, it has to be duly elected, and most HOAs are set up where the residents have to actually vote on any changes and rules within the HOA itself. Most of the HOAs are set up where a high number of residents have to vote in one way or the other before it's actually passed. So they can't change the rules just arbitrarily. They do avoid court. Most all HOAs, you're not going to end up going to court. You're going to be going to arbitration of some sort if you have a dispute with them. So let's talk now about how HOAs are beneficial and how they actually increase the value of your property. The first thing is property preservation. Obviously, HOAs are concerned with you, the homeowners, maintaining your property and making sure that it is aesthetically pleasing to the general public. That means that your neighbor can't go 6 months without mowing their yard or painting their house for 15 years and having shutters fall off. They will make sure that all the properties within development are preserved and actually in good condition, which is going to help the whole entire development itself. Then there's what we refer to as a price lift. And what we have found by, analyzing the market itself, are a home in an HOA typically sells for 5 to 10% higher than if that same house was in a development or on raw land that had no HOA restrictions itself. So that just kind of goes back once again to the power of the HOA and the benefits of the HOA and how it drives up property value. So we call that a property lift. So once again, homes in an HOA typically see from 5 to 10% higher price with all other things being considered. There's a buyer appeal. Believe it or not, most buyers want to be in a development that looks nice, that looks good. The neighbors' homes look nice. They're nice and preserved. They're manicured. Everything is conformity is a big thing from an aesthetic pleasing standpoint. So when buyers drive into a neighborhood, it is very pleasing and comforting to a typical buyer that things are looking the same, everything's well maintained. So buyer appeal is a big one. So here are my final thoughts on an HOA and how they actually affect your property value. So I know that a lot of folks disapprove of HOAs. They feel as if they're a little bit too overbearing and, too conforming. However, there's a big plus with HOAs and how it actually increases the value of your property. If you're looking for a development that is within an HOA and you want to make sure that all the neighbors are maintaining their properties, there's a lot of cohesiveness in the community itself, and you've got a better chance of having property values increase, HOAs just may be the right communities for you. If you have any additional comments or want to learn a little bit more, reach out to us. Give us a thumbs up if you thought this was helpful, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody.